Hi, everyone, and welcome to Content.ai's Ask Us Anything, where we discuss what's top of mind in our community. Thanks to everyone who submitted questions. Today's topic is about driving efficient content production in your content management system, which means we'll also chat about Content.ai's capabilities, including Mission Control. So a quick intro, Mission Control is a data-rich set of content operation dashboards that help teams monitor everything that's happening in the platform. So such as content progress, content pace, content status, everything related to your teams and your workflows and your content. Before we dive in, let's meet who you're asking. My name is Monica, and I head up product marketing at Content.ai.
Hey, my name is Martin Orlowski. I'm a senior product manager at Content.ai.
Chris Janning, I head up pre-sales and content strategy.
Great, thanks. So for the first question, it comes from a content strategist at SEMrush. Thanks for the question. Chris, you'll take this one. Can you share some advice for speeding up the content approval process?
Sure. So there's a variety of ways to answer this. And the platform supports all of them. So better collaboration, workflow optimization. I think the easiest way to answer it, and we'll keep it in the context of the Mission Control introduction, would be around workflow optimization. Now, how do you optimize workflow? The best place to start is by understanding what's slowing you down. So this is the content pace view inside of Mission Control that lays out every single workflow you have implemented in the platform and the individual steps that are part of that workflow, how long the workflow takes on average to complete, along with how long each individual step takes to complete. So the key data there that you can then take action on is identifying what steps in particular are slowing you down and starting there.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think it just draws to the wider idea that if you don't have visibility into those individual steps, it's going to be really hard to find where the bottlenecks are. So great advice, Chris. Thanks for sharing. So we talked to our partners as well. So this next question comes from our partner at Actum Digital. Thanks for sharing. And it's about how the right implementation of your technology or your CMS can drive greater value from the content that you actually create. So the question is, what are some things to bear in mind when implementing Content.ai to ensure content drives business value? They mention a proper and specific content model is one, precise roles would be another. What other operational foundations help keep the focus on a return on content? So I'm happy to take this one. I think what's interesting about thinking about a content management system is some folks might do all of their work, their drafting, their editing in the platform itself, and some other teams may have different processes where they do a lot of that stuff outside of the platform. Maybe they're using Google Docs or they're using Slack, or messages and approvals are getting maybe a little bit lost in email threads. So one of my biggest recommendations, and it can be sort of a larger mind shift for your team, would to be centralize as much as you can into your content management system so that you have your workflows there. You can give feedback on specific articles there. You have your versions there. You have your approvals there. Set due dates, set assignments. And the reason I say doing as much as you can in one singular place, like Content.ai, is that the more actions you do in the platform, the greater visibility and transparency you'll have as a team. And the bonus is the richer data sets you'll have in Mission Control, because Mission Control is meant to measure and monitor everything that's happening with your teams and your workflows. And if some of that stuff's sitting out of the platform, you're really missing that piece. You're really missing that visibility. And I mentioned it's not going to be an overnight shift, but it's certainly one to think about. How can you start moving more and more of your actions into one central platform? Any other takes, Martin?
Yeah, I think that's a very great question, and there's a lot of aspects to ways how to answer the question. There's of course the proper governance of content. It's something that really helps with managing return on content, because you can imagine how it can cost you if each content editor needs to find an item and spending like minutes of each time funding an item, and they need to work with hundreds of items every day. So it's a great idea to utilize different features of Content.ai, which helps to like make the pool smaller for content editors, because usually they do not need to see everything. They just need to see what they need to see, and this definitely helps them to faster find the right content which they need to bring on. And of course, if I'm speaking about the wasting time, which of course translates to return on content as well, it's about the managing content properly in a way that there shouldn't be a content which is like stuck or forgotten, or just orphanate content inside a platform, which again, it's just making the finding content more difficult. And that's something what we are detecting on the mission control widgets, that you can see that content items stuck in the specific workflow step for 80, 90, 100 days. And usually that's something what requires attention, because that's not usual. And of course, as I said, there's multiple ways how to optimize this return content, and that's being sure that your content is compliant, and especially in regulated industries, that having non-compliant content outside can really cost you money. They can be connected with the fines. So you need to be sure that your live content is compliant. And as well, that's something what we are helping with in Mission Control, because we are detecting content published for more than 100 days. So I'm not sure about the number of days, but more than certain threshold, and then just showing to project managers so they can just see if it's fine or not, and they can act upon that.
Mm-hmm. Great. So to speed this along and also think about mission control a little bit more specifically, we are lucky to be joined by Martin, because he is the product manager for mission control. So Actum also asked about the shift of like cultural, mental, organizational barriers that maybe incorporating something like mission control in the daily operation of content teams, it might be a bit more difficult. So what would you recommend to overcome these barriers so that mission control really is that place where you start your day and you find value in it every time you drop in?
Yeah. Firstly, I would like to say that we respect the privacy and the security of our users and their content at the first place. Yeah, that means that we never will show the content items to user which shouldn't see the content, or just disclose any information which shouldn't be available to them. The thing what we are doing in Mission Control is just we are taking available data in Content.ai and translating them into easily readable facts and widgets, so it just it's easy to consume them and act upon them. Yeah, so the thing is that we, and there's a reason why a few widgets which we are releasing, they are firstly limited only to project managers, and then when we find a way how to show them to everybody, we then release them after we are sure that we will not disclose anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chris, you mentioned on one of our calls, which I found interesting, was that it's the less is more approach to dashboards, where you're showing organizing data in a way that is meaningful to users. Can you build on that a little bit?
So some of the feedback we've gotten actually with the early calls where we demonstrated and talked about mission control was, we have a small team, and we might not need this data, and there are 6 tabs in mission control, and they're organized, kind of around different use cases, right? So you've got your own work. How do you start your day? What do I want to work on today? Then you've got the dashboard, which is more team oriented, a little bit higher level, editorial calendar. So they're all very different. So in terms of adoption, it may not be a matter of adopting everything all at once. It's more of a crawl before you run type approach. And from a less is more standpoint, yes, there are 6 tabs, but those six tabs are very well organized as far as what's in there. There's no scrolling, right? So you open one tab and you are and the display is one screen. There's no need to scroll either horizontally or vertically. So you're given a very selective amount of information under each selection. And so in terms of, taking that on, go slow and start out with maybe something as simple as your work.
Mhm. Great. Well, we just wanted to give you a taste into Mission Control and how it can really serve your content operations. If you have any more questions, just like this video is called, Ask Us Anything. We want to hear about it. So feel free to connect with us or on our social channels. And we look forward to hearing from you.